Thank you, band. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Reverend Judy Pilot, and I want to take this opportunity to extend a very, very warm, major hug welcome to everyone here in the sanctuary this morning, and also to all of those who are viewing us online this morning. Welcome to those folks as well. I am pinch hitting for Reverend Mason this morning. She reached out to me on Friday and shared with me that she, unfortunately, she and her family have lost a very dear friend of theirs, someone who was just like family, someone that they had grown up with. And being the smart, prayed up, self-care comes first. Put on your own oxygen mask first. Person that she is, she recognized that she needed to take some time this morning to be with that loss, to process that, and reached out to me, and I'm just delighted that my calendar was open and I was able to come in and be here with you this morning. It's great to see you all. We are now back in Kalamazoo on a permanent basis. Times 10 is how we feel about it, okay? So we're very excited to be back, and again, great to see all of you, and deeply honored to have an opportunity to serve this congregation who has done so much for me to serve you all this morning. So enough about me. What do y'all think about joining in song? Do they get to join in song?
Sure they do.
They get to join in song with Barbara and Deb for our opening song, which is Attitude of Gratitude. Well, if you weren't awake after an extra hour of sleep, I'm sure that probably has done the job for us all, so thank you. We're about to now move into our time of prayer and meditation, and so Barb's going to lead us in, Barb and Deb? Barb and Deb are going to lead us in our meditation song.
Give thanks for the abundance in my life. I give thanks for the abundance in my life. I give thanks for the abundance as Spirit flows among us. I give thanks for the abundance in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty in my life. I give thanks for all the bounty as the love of God surrounds me. I give thanks for all the bounty give thanks for all the treasure in my life.
And so, as we move into our time of prayer and meditation this morning, I invite you to just get comfortable. Just relax in your seat. Close your outer eyes if you are comfortable doing that. And just take in these words from today's daily word. And so the word for today is divine order. And our affirmation is, I live in harmony with divine order. I'm going to read that one more time, and then the third time through, I would invite you to affirm that with me. I live in harmony with divine order. Together, I live in harmony with divine order. Life is in constant motion, even if that motion is imperceptible to me. When I feel stuck in place or impatient with my progress, I consider the gradual yet orderly pattern of the seasons as they change. The single golden leaf I notice one day will soon become part of a blaze of color just a few weeks later. The brisk chill in the morning air soon will lead to biting cold and snow. But then the first tender seedlings of spring will bring bright blooms and a vibrant canopy, followed by the long, sultry days of summer. Little by little, one season turns into the next. My growth and understanding may happen in much the same way. Even if I don't notice changes day to day, my life is always in motion and in order. And from James chapter 2, verse 22, you see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was brought to completion by his works. And so we take just a moment to be with those words, to be with that thought of divine order. And knowing that even though things are different this morning, everything is indeed in divine order. And I invite you now also, as we begin this time of meditation and going within, that you bring Reverend Mason into our circle of prayer and meditation. And we affirm together her peace of mind, her gratitude for this lovely person that she has known and loved in her lifetime. And we affirm our peace of mind and our gratitude for all of those that we have lost along the way as well. This cycle of life and death is part of the seasons changing, and it's part of what we experience on this human plane. And so, as spiritual beings, we know the truth that this is just a shift in energetic form, but nonetheless, these losses can be difficult for us to deal with. And so I invite you to breathe in a breath of love and breathe out any sense of separation. Breathe in a breath of peace and breathe out any sense of anxiety, any sense of concern. Breathe in a breath of joy and release anything that is not joy. And we are indeed joyful and grateful because in this moment we have everything we need. We have everything we need. We have enough. And even more importantly, we are enough. That Christ consciousness within us is always present. We bring it forward in our thoughts and our words and our actions. And each and every day, we set our intention to bring forth more of that God expression, more of that Christ consciousness. As we learn to shine our light in the world and are grateful for the light that others shine in our lives. It is this give and take, this ebb and flow, this in and out, the movement of the seasons. That remind us that we are growing in consciousness. We are growing in spiritual awareness. And when we acknowledge that truth, we find that peace of mind. We find that God channel widening. We find that expression flowing from us. And it is in this awareness that we know we have enough, we are enough. There is enough for everyone. And slowly but surely, just as the seasons move forward, we are part of that great spiritual awakening that is moving all of us towards that higher consciousness and that expression of God. That is our only purpose in being here, is to express more of that consciousness, to express more of that divine energy, and to celebrate that connection that we have with each other and with all living things. So, in an awareness of that connection, in an awareness of our intention to express that God energy, we now go deep into that heart space and just sit with that knowing. We have enough. We are enough. And we are God expressing. And we take a moment now in the silence to embrace that. I invite you now to gently return your conscious awareness to this place and time, to this room, to this celebration, and to hold close with you all of this day and all of the days that follow this thought. We have enough. We are enough. And when we live from that awareness, divine order is present everywhere. God bless you. Beth Patterson, correct? Beth for special music, and not to not honor the rest of her colleagues that are up here with us. Let me just take a moment to acknowledge our musicians this morning. Brent is here on keyboards. Yeah, right. Yeah, Brent is here on keyboards. Carolyn is here on drums and guitar. Jonathan is here on bass, and Beth is here to perform her song. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
The divine channel was open. And the song Beth chose today is an original piece she wrote entitled Enough.
Lying awake again without feeling, silent, screaming. How can this be made right? But in this angry prayer, you're listening there, holding me and pointing to the light. And there's enough. And there's always been enough. Never be a day without enough. Lies of scarcity have got us fighting, don't you see? Fear is the enemy. There's love enough, grace enough, strength enough. We're all going to be fed. There's enough bread. You're enough. Not perfect, but enough. Rest in this and find the strength you need. Truth be told, you're worth your weight in gold. It's new eyes that you need. There's love enough, grace enough, strength enough. We're all going to be fed. There's enough bread. There's love enough, grace enough, strength enough. We're all going to be fed. There's enough bread. Peace, be still. 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 Peace, be still.
It's nothing like good old unity of Kalamazoo music, you know? Thank you, Beth. That was awesome. What a really, really lovely song that is. And when I introduced the band, I didn't mean to neglect all of the other folks who are in service here this morning as well. It's been a while since I've done this. It's been a while since I've been up here, but thank you to Brian and to Jarrett and to all of our ushers and everyone else who has worked behind the scenes to bring all of this together for us so that we could be here this morning to celebrate each other and to celebrate this journey that we are on. So, let's see a show of hands if you have heard this statement before. Everything in life is either a blessing to me or a lesson for me. Yeah, that's one of those statements that you hear when you are in unity. But there's other smart people that are connected to that as well. Everything in life is either a blessing to me or a lesson for me. I think a lot of people interpret this to mean that everything happens for a reason. The reason may not always be clear to us in the moment, but in time we will come to understand the takeaways from any given situation. Now, sometimes the lessons are painfully clear to us right in the moment. I know probably anyone who's been in a relationship, whether it's a spouse, a partner, people that you work with, parents, kids, you know, we've all at some point had to kind of swallow it and say, okay, I know. We talked about this before, and you have asked me not to. And I did, and I'm sorry. And we pretty often almost know that stuff right away. There's a look on that person's face that kind of tells us like, oh, yep, I did that thing again, didn't I? I'm sorry. But there's also blessings that are very clearly obvious to us as well. And so along with the lessons, which sometimes can be painful, there's some blessings which are just absolutely joyous and fun. This past Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday before, a week or so ago, I had an opportunity to spend time with my sister and her family, which is one of the blessings for us in terms of being back in Michigan and being closer to family. And my niece has a 2-year-old daughter, and her son was born in June, so he just turned 5 months old. So we all had a chance to gather on a Friday afternoon, have lunch together, visit. And as you well know, there is nothing quite like songs and dancing to help kids deal with all of that energy that they feel from time to time. So at one point, we all got up in the kitchen, and of course, you know, we did Baby Shark, right? Baby Shark. We did a penguin dance, where you have to bring your flippers up and move around like that. We did one that was kind of new to me. I hadn't seen it before or heard it before, but Shake Your Sillies Out. And apparently Rumi does some of these tunes, and they're all available. But yeah, we spent a fair amount of time shaking out our sillies. And then this moment that just absolutely crystallized for me was when my niece said, Google, play Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes. It's like, wait a minute, I used to do Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes. And now all of a sudden it's Google, play Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes. And of course, we all did Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes. But it was such an awareness in that moment how everything has changed and sometimes nothing has changed. You know that feeling where the more things change, the more they stay the same? And it was in that moment that my heart was just filled with gratitude for time with family, for all of the things and all of the ways that we can celebrate with each other, and for Google, and for little Della, who just danced her little heart out. It was just an awesome time. And for sure, that was a blessing to me, along with that observation and that lesson that, again, as much as things change sometimes, many things remain the same. So, in our time together this morning, what I wanted to do was try to unpack that statement. Everything in life is either a blessing to me or a lesson for me. I wanted to unpack that a little bit. And I also wanted to share with you a context for this statement that you may not have considered before. And I think that's important, because one of the things that continues to be an awareness for me, and at times of frustration, is when I look out into the world and I see the amount of division, the amount of anger, the amount of finger pointing and name calling, and just all kinds of examples of people doing everything except get along with each other. And in those moments, sometimes I think it's really hard to say, okay, where's the blessing in this? Where's the lesson in this, really? Yeah, we can all learn from it in terms of what not to do. But it's hard to see that as a blessing sometimes. So I wanted to give you a context for thinking about that phrase. It's either a blessing or a lesson, and give you maybe a different way to think about it that helps with some of the things that are a bit more confusing about that. So I went to one of my favorites, The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simmons. And I know most of you have probably taken this class or read this book at some time. It's been around for a while. But this is not even in Gary's book. It doesn't have anything to do with Gary's talking about the four winds of conflict. But it is in the foreword to the book. And since the foreword comes before the introduction, before the book starts, I'm not sure that everybody's had an opportunity to read what's in the foreword. But at any rate, what gets shared in the foreword to the book is some guided imagery that's been used in some sessions and retreats and those kinds of environments. And in this guided imagery, it starts off where before our birth, we were all just a bunch of happy little souls hanging out in paradise, just being at peace, being at joy, just hanging out. And then there's a call for volunteers. Yo, we need some souls to go down to Earth. Need some folks who are willing to spend some time on the planet. Who might be willing to do that? So, we volunteered. We said, well, I could do that. I could take some time to go down there. And then it goes through this very elaborate process about how we have to meet with the Incarnation Committee. So you can't just take this trip and, get on the next whatever. You got to plan it out. And there's an awful lot of details that need to be worked out. All of these details, which ultimately kind of come together as a sacred contract or a mission, Why are we here, right? What are we supposed to do? So you have these conversations with the Incarnation Committee, and you kind of figure out where you're going to live. Who's going to be your parents? Oh, yes, you pick them. Who's going to be your siblings? You pick those too. Your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your social status. All of these details and many, many more are part of what gets worked out in that sacred contract, that mission that we agreed to when we raised our hands and said, sure, I'll go. Now, the really interesting thing about this is that the moment we arrive on this planet to begin our human adventure, the moment we take that first breath and let out a wail, we completely forget everything about that contract, everything about that mission. We completely forget everything about our spiritual nature. Gone, blank slate. Might have been helpful if they would have told us that was going to happen. But we forget that we are divine light. We forget that we are divine love. We forget that we are energy showing up in a human form. We forget that we volunteered for this experience and all of the work that we did with the Incarnation Committee to plan all of the details. We forget everything that happened before we were here, and we begin life's great journey of remembering. So, our journey in life is all about remembering our contract and remembering our commitment to live a life of service and to grow deeper in our spiritual understanding and our demonstration of it. That's why we agreed to do this in the first place, okay? But unfortunately, we have forgotten all of that. So from this perspective and from within this context, everything in life is either a blessing to me or a lesson for me. Because it's in this framework of remembering that we rediscover our divine nature. We recall that we were happy little souls just hanging out in paradise before we volunteered to come here. And it is through service and growth that we learn how to more fully express our divine nature. So the discovery and the expression of our divine nature is a primary focus in unity. But I think it's always really interesting to note that it's a theme that you will find in all of the other major religions. In Christianity, Jesus teaches that the kingdom of heaven is within. Muhammad said, "Those who know themselves know their Lord." Confucianism teaches that those who know completely their own nature know heaven. Hinduism teaches that individual consciousness and universal consciousness are one. And Buddhism says, look within. You are the Buddha. So there's a universal theme throughout faith traditions of discovering our divine nature, of knowing that God is within, and understanding that we are all expressions of God. And this universal theme is pretty powerful. There's a world of difference between believing that God is on your side and knowing that God is within you and you are God expressing. Big difference. If everyone on the planet knew and understood that we are God expressing, a lot of folks would have to clean up their act. And a lot of us would have to be much more disciplined about the way we show up in everyday life. So we have this framework that says our nature is twofold. We exist in a physical world, and we also exist in the realm of consciousness. We all have bodies, but at the core of our being, in the depth of our consciousness, we also have this center of transcendent awareness. And it's from this center of transcendent awareness, this awareness of things beyond what we can see and touch and feel. It's from this center that we know that we are part of something much bigger than this body, this place, this time, and that we begin to live the mission that we signed up for. It's from this awareness that we begin to serve and grow. And it is from this awareness and through service and spiritual growth that we become more powerful expressions of the divine. So consider this. We are a creation of the sacred. We are intimately and eternally linked to the sacred. We are forever graced and embraced by the sacred. In the course of our lifetime, everything we experience is either a blessing to us or a lesson for us, because it helps us to remember who we are and why we are here. As we remember and rediscover who we are and why we are here, we experience spontaneous glimpses of our divine nature and our purpose. And our mission is to develop a clear, sustained vision of our sacred self. To see that first in the mirror before we see whatever else it is we see. We discover that vision and that sacred self through service and spiritual growth. We use our spiritual practices to help us develop that sustained, clear vision of our divine nature and our sacred self. And the purpose of our existence is to remember everything we forgot about our spiritual self when we left that other existence and took on this human form. In the book Lessons in Truth, which is a Unity classic, I'm sure most of you have read that and studied that, Emily Cady writes, "At the great heart of humanity, there is a deep and awful homesickness that never has been and never can be satisfied with anything less than a clear, vivid consciousness of the indwelling presence of God. We're all homesick from that place we were before. That homesickness that we feel comes up every now and then. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? What is the purpose of all of this? And it's that homesickness that's tugging at us about that which we were and where we are, where we were, and what we are becoming. So that clear, vivid consciousness of our sacred self and the indwelling presence of God is what we're working on. Remembering and understanding your spiritual nature so we can live a life that expresses more God is really the only reason we are here. And again, most of our spiritual traditions incorporate that belief about knowing and expressing that God within. Spiritual practices like prayer and meditation help us to remember who we are and why we are here. They help us deepen that awareness so that we can live in a way that is mindful of our mission. Our mission also calls us to practice kindness, compassion, and generosity towards others and towards all forms of life. When we remember who we are and why we are here, and when we live mindfully as God expressing, life gets better, and the world is a better place. In Romans chapter 8 and verse 28, Paul teaches us that all things work together for good for those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. All of those happy little souls who have volunteered to come here are part of that purpose. And so when we say that everything in life is a blessing to me or a lesson for me, when we know this and when we use it as a framework to remember who we are and why we're here, our hearts open to spiritual transformation, and we begin to heal that homesickness that Emily Cady wrote about. It's not about figuring out why the world is the way it is. It's about remembering who we are and bringing that light and that love and that energy into this space. Because when we remember and when we understand and we use our spiritual practices to help us express more of God each and every day, the world is a better place. Those spiritual practices are rehearsals. You guys practice all the time, right? All right. Spiritual practices are rehearsals for the qualities that we need to complete our mission as spiritual beings having a human experience. Qualities like kindness, compassion, generosity. Qualities that are all evidence of God expressing in us, through us, and as us. And in time, this becomes our way of being. So in closing, I want to leave you with one of my very favorite blessings and lessons, and it's this. Be mindful of your thoughts, because our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our character, and our character becomes our destiny. Embrace the remembering and know that everything in life is a blessing to you or a lesson for you. God bless you. Okay. So I think it's time now for our offertory blessing. Okay. And if y'all haven't changed it, divine love blesses all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. All right. And now it's time for our offertory song.
We're still in our remembrance and dedication mode. We shared a couple songs that Patricia said it was a couple weeks back, John and I. And Beth was a big part of our celebration of life for her in September as well. She was very close to Bill and Patty, and they collaborated on music quite a lot. So it's kind of our collective mission to keep these songs alive, and we're going to be working with Bill to record a few of her songs that didn't get recorded while she was here, and he's very delighted, and we'll share those with you when the time comes. This is one of the all-star P2 songbook classics. We'd invite you to sing the chorus if you recognize it.
Well, life is full of circumstance and changes fair and grim, and every moment's better spent with family and friend. When deeds are done and words alone no understanding bring, we hold hands in a circle and we sing. We hold hands in a circle and we sing, yes we sing. Sing our joy and sorrow, our pleasure and our pain. And from our hearts beyond the heavens our incantations ring, when we hold hands in a circle and we sing. When the loved one passes on, the singing helps us mourn. The singing helps us celebrate when babies new are born. And when the lovers take their vows and join in marrying, we hold hands in a circle and we sing. We hold hands in a circle and we sing, yes we sing. Sing our joy and sorrow, our pleasure and our pain. And from our hearts beyond the heavens our incantations ring, when we hold hands in a circle and we sing. And when the nations go to war and people disagree, and folks around the world are sick with fear and poverty, deep in my heart that it would be a healing thing if we'd hold hands in a circle and we'd sing. We'd look into each other's eyes and see our own selves there, and feel the pulse of life that all us living beings share. We'd share our joy and sorrow, our pleasure and our pain, if we held hands in a circle and we sang. So let's hold hands in a circle and let's sing, yes, let's sing. Sing our joy and sorrow, our pleasure and our pain. And from our hearts beyond the heavens our incantations ring, when we hold hands in a circle and we sing. Let's hold hands in a circle and let's sing, yes, let's sing. Sing our joy and sorrow, our pleasure and our pain. And from our hearts beyond the heavens our incantations ring, when we hold hands in a circle and we sing. Yes, from our hearts beyond the heavens our incantations ring, when we hold hands in a circle and we sing, and we sing.
Thank you for singing.
That was just lovely. Oh, my. Ah, thank you. So, I believe now we say the prayer for protection, and then we sing the peace song. All right, and just a reminder, any board announcements that we need to handle? Thanks, Deb. Yes, Paul.
Just a quick mention, I think everybody knows we do have coffee after service. Please be safe, keep your mask on when you're not drinking coffee. You don't know how that works.
We do indeed. Thank you, Paul. Alrighty then, so I invite you to stand as you are able, and let's join together in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.